everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess Constantino, and if you are new to my channel, welcome and thank you for joining. I hope that you will like the video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get the notifications and you can see every time I upload a video. I'm going to try to upload a video once or twice every week and see how that goes, and I might post more regularly than that if I get started and get enough interest. But right now I'm just kind of seeing how it's going. So I am going to be posting once or twice a week to see how it goes. So please hit the notification bell if you're interested in learning about vision loss or the community and what the experiences are of somebody who grew up being visually impaired. My story is basically, I was born with, I was the second child to my parents. I have an older sister, and she was born without any visual problems at all. Her eyes are perfectly normal and fine. When I was born, they pretty much knew right away that I had some sort of problem. When I was 2 weeks old, my parents tried to have me track a flashlight, and my eyes were unable to track the light. So they took me to an eye specialist, and the eye specialist told them that I was visually impaired, that I had this rare disease called aniridia. And at the time when I was born, there wasn't very many people that had aniridia. It was a very rare condition at that point. So there wasn't a whole lot of information on it. But they did know that a piece of my 11th chromosome spontaneously broke off. They have no idea why. When they did a exploratory surgery on me when I was a baby to find out everything that I could see at that time, they said that the piece was so microscopic that they couldn't actually tell it apart between my two chromosomes when they put them together. But obviously there was a piece of my 11th chromosome that was missing because it caused this deformation, if you will, of my eyes. So they basically did not develop properly. Like I said in the last video, I don't have the normal shape of an optic nerve, and I obviously do not have any iris at all, the color part of your eye. Along with that, I developed glaucoma very early in life. I believe I was 2 when I started glaucoma medicine. And basically what happened is I have a different form of glaucoma. Most people, when they get older, they develop open-end glaucoma, and basically the tear ducts that drain the fluid are looser, and that's why theirs are open-end, because the fluid drains differently. However, with mine, I have closed-end glaucoma, and what that means is the tear ducts are too small, the spaces are too small for the fluid to leak out properly the way that it's supposed to. And so a buildup of fluid builds up behind my optic nerve. And if you get too much of that fluid that builds up behind your optic nerve, it will detach your optic nerve from your brain or your eye, either of which would be bad because you would go blind. And that started affecting me when I was 2. I had my first glaucoma surgery when I was 7. And I'm not going to tell you the exact details of my glaucoma surgeries because I was so young when I got them, and I honestly do not remember them. Maybe in the future I can have my mom come on and explain, because I know that she remembers all of that stuff a lot better than I do. But yeah, I had a glaucoma surgery when I was 7, and it worked for the time, but after 3 years I had to have another glaucoma surgery. And so by the time I was 10, I had 2 glaucoma surgeries under my belt. Because I had surgery. When you have surgery on one part of your eye, it affects other parts of your eye and it causes other problems to arise. So when I had these glaucoma surgeries, suddenly I developed two things. I developed cataracts, which basically is like it's like a spot on your lens, the clear lens that you look out of in the front of your eye. It develops like a spot, and eventually the whole lens will become like a yellowish, brownish color, as I understand it, which not only causes you to be looking through a tint, but it kind of clouds your vision a little bit. Also, on top of that, I developed corneal disease. And with cataracts, I mean, most people know that cataracts are an easy fix. You have cataract surgery, and with a very simple procedure, it goes away. However, with corneal disease, it wasn't such an easy fix. So with my corneal disease, what happens is the cornea, which is the main part that you look out of in the front of your eye, it develops little holes in it, little pinpoint holes. And when it develops these holes, your scar tissue comes in to clear up that hole. And because that's what scar tissue is supposed to do. And when it does that, it basically forms a cloud on my eye. So I am essentially trying to look through a cloud all of the time. And that is how I would describe my vision, is very cloudy. I can see out of it. However, since getting the corneal disease, it has been extremely difficult to see detail, especially when it's far away. I don't think I have actually been able to see the stars in the sky since I was probably 7. My family went on this, I remember this vacation that we took when I was 7, and I grew up in California, and we took this trip to Shaver Lake, and it was during a meteor shower. And during the meteor shower, we went out on these rocks over the lake, and we watched this meteor shower. And it was the last time I was able to see stars, was actually seeing the falling stars as they went by. And that to me is like so amazing, because at least at some point in my life, I was able to see it, and I definitely still have that memory. I would be lying if I didn't say that one day I look forward to hopefully being able to see them again. But as of right now, that is not in my future. However, I am very, very lucky, because they did tell me by the time I was 25, they thought I would be blind. And I actually did not go blind by the time I was 25, and I have made it several years later without being completely blind. I have been close to being completely blind, and I've had to use a lot of aids for being blind, and I will go into all of that more in detail later. Maybe I'll make a whole separate video for the different aids and activities that I have done because I've been visually impaired, but I think we'll save that for its own video. As far as my vision goes, I remember I've always had to do a lot of eye medicines, and I remember when I was 7, I believe, I would go up to the office every day during school, because I went to a normal sighted school. I mainstreamed with everybody else because I did not want to be in blind classes. I wanted to be with everybody else, with all my other peers and my sister and my cousin and the people that were around me that went to school. And I just thought I was just like everybody else. So why couldn't I go to school with everybody else? So I always went to school with everyone, like everybody else. I didn't go to special classes for the most part. And when I was in school, I would do like 4 eye drops a day. So at lunchtime, and possibly like another time throughout the day, but I would have to go up to the office and do my eye drops and then go back out to the playground or wherever we were at that time at school. And it was an interesting experience because you always have to remember, I have to do my eye medicine, and it's just something that sticks with you. My son has not quite figured that responsibility of self yet. I still remind him constantly, and he does not like to do his eye medicine. And I don't know if there's like other people out there. You guys can like leave a comment and let me know if anybody else has this problem with their kids not wanting to do medicines or things that are good for them. But yeah, my son like fights me every step of the way when it comes to doing his eye medicine. He's like, I don't want to do it, and he always puts up a fight. So but anyway, back to my story. So when I was 10, after having 2 glaucoma surgeries, I lost a lot of my vision, and at that point they put me into a classroom that was for the blind. And it was very different from what I was used to, because I was used to being in a class with everybody else. And I mean, I definitely stood out, and people knew that I was visually impaired and I had dealt with bullies. And it definitely was a different experience than the average person. However, going to this class where I was surrounded by other visually impaired and blind people, and I was learning Braille and mobility, and the mobility is where you use the cane and learn how to navigate across streets and cities. So when you're blind. So at this school, it was a class with 4th to 8th graders in it. And I was in 6th grade at the time. I went to this class every day, all day, and I would ride a special bus that would take me to this school. I felt very abnormal. I felt weird. I felt like I was a fish out of water at this school, and it didn't fit what I was used to and what I had grown up being used to and enjoying in my life. And I didn't get the same treatment that I did, and it wasn't. You'd think, well, you're going to a visually impaired class and you're with all these people that understand you better, and where that is true, there is a level of understanding and bonding and friendship that you make amongst people that are visually impaired that sighted people just don't understand the same way that somebody who has been through your struggles understands you. But we weren't, it wasn't like a school for the blind and visually impaired. It was a class for the blind and visually impaired inside a normal junior high school. And it wasn't like just a junior high. I think the grades were like 3rd to 8th grade or something like that, I want to say, at this school. It was very weird. It was like an in-between school. But we were just a class on this campus of fully sighted people. And at recesses and lunches, they would, as we walked down the corridors, they would throw balls at our heads, and like 4 square balls, basketballs, you name it, they would throw balls at our heads, like as we walked past. And it felt like being in a shooting gallery. It was like, line up and walk down the hall so you can get pelted in the head with a ball. Like, woohoo! It was a very hard experience, and I personally hated it. I was there for 6 months, and in my family's words, I was a completely different person after those 6 months. I went from being a happy, normal child to being very angry and introvert, and just a different form of myself. I was not my normal self. And my family worried about me, and they were like, we have to get her out of the school. We have to fix this. So my mom went back to my old school where I was mainstreaming, and she talked to my principal, and the principal said, we will find accommodations. We will figure it out. Just get her back here. And so they did. And halfway through my 6th grade year, they transferred me back to my mainstream school. And like, I won't lie to you, it was intense, because going back to the reason that I went to this blind program in the first place was because I had lost a lot of vision, and they were terrified I was going to lose all my vision, and I needed all these extra services that school wasn't used to providing. And that was when we figured out that through the county we could get Braille services and we could get mobility, and that we didn't have to go to a special school just so that I could get these services that I needed, being visually impaired and losing my vision. So they would pull me out of class, and I would do my blind services. I say blind services, but they would teach me Braille, and they would teach me mobility. And it was very beneficial for me. I mean, to this day, there are still many lessons that I take from my mobility lessons and use them every single day. So they were very valuable lessons. But I learned them a lot better in an environment that I was comfortable in than in the visually impaired classroom. And also, I had a CCTV, which is a closed circuit television. Basically what it does is it is a screen with a TV on it. The ones today are a lot nicer than the ones when I was going to school. They were like a dinosaur. I'll see if I can find a picture and like insert it in the video somewhere. But it essentially is a TV, and underneath it has a magnifying lens, and it will magnify the books onto the screen. So you could see what you're reading big on a screen. Because large print wasn't, at that point, I couldn't even see large print. I needed it so large that it had to be, it had to be like that large for me to see it. So I had to have something on a screen where I could enlarge the letters to be this big. It was a fairly big deal. It was a huge piece of machinery. And I was in junior high, so I had different classes, and I had a friend, and my friend and I would take this on a cart. We would take this CCTV around to each of my classes. We would push it on this cart around to each of my classes. And that was how I was able to stay in school and do mainstreaming with everybody else. I also had a math tutor that started with me in 6th grade and went all the way through my junior year of high school. And in my junior year of high school, they told me I wasn't allowed to have my math tutor anymore. I lost my train of thought with my math tutor, but I actually had a math tutor that came from 6th grade to my junior year in high school. And he worked with me every single Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. for all of those years. So from 6th grade to my junior year, every single Saturday, I spent the entire day with my math tutor, and he was awesome. He was the best coach and the best tutor ever. He was so amazing. He helped me figure out how to do so many things that I don't know that I would have been able to do if he hadn't have been in my life, helping me every step of the way. When I went into geometry, he actually went home because I couldn't understand volume because I couldn't see it. And so he went home and he made out of wood, he like carved out all of these little pieces, and they weren't just like triangles and squares. I mean, these were like things that were intricate that you could like pour volume into them, so that like liquid into them, so you could like understand what volume was. That is the kind of things he did for me. So he was really amazing. When I was 13, I had cataract surgery, and then going through junior high, I pretty much had the same setup, and then into the high school, I had the same setup, but in high school, they had a one-on-one tutor with me in some of my classes because I couldn't see the board, and I needed somebody to like help me take notes on the board in real time, and they just didn't have any like equipment available to me at that point in time when I was young, because I grew up back in the 90s. So there wasn't a whole lot available, and so they would just have an aide that would help me one-on-one do things that I needed extra help with. So that was pretty much my experiences. I also was a competitive swimmer. I started swimming competitively when I was 4, and I think it was a good sport for me because it's hard to run when you can't see, and really in a swimming pool, at least you're not gonna like run into things. You just need to know when you get to the other wall so that you can do a flip turn and not hit your head. When I was in high school, I actually started doing open turns, and I was faster than I was when I did flip turns. I got to the point where I was so good at doing flip turns doing open turns that I could do them very speedy. And I swam the 500 freestyle in high school, and I swam butterfly. So those were the races I liked to do. Whenever they would tell us to swim backstroke, I hated backstroke because the sun would always be in my eyes. And so I would ask my swim coach if I could swim butterfly, and she'd always say, yeah, go ahead, because butterfly is like the hardest stroke to swim. So, but it was just, my experiences are just my own. I know that there are a lot of different methods out there today, and a lot of better equipment and accommodations that kids have access to, and I will get into a lot of that because I've actually had to go through a lot of the challenges of having accommodations for my son and what it has been like with him. So at some point in the future, I will also do a video probably talking about the accommodations for him and how his have changed in 30 years since mine, and just go through some of that, because I think it's interesting how accommodations today are so different than they were when I was growing up. But anyway, this video has been extremely long already, and it's probably too long, and I'm rambling, so I'm gonna wrap it up and maybe continue in another video. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you will subscribe so you can catch more like it. If you're interested, make sure you hit the notification bell and leave a comment down below. Tell me what your experiences were and how they were different. and tell me if there's anything that you would like to know about, and any questions you may have for me. So that's gonna do it for this video. Please share this video with everybody that you think might find it important and relevant, and please don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and I hope you guys will have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.